I'm Myra.
And I'm Danica.
And this is Black Women Healing Podcast.
And on this podcast, you can join us every Monday where we have raw, relatable conversations about mental wellness.
And we push you to do the work.
Let's heal.
This is Black Women Healing Podcast. Hey y'all, we're back with another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. And as you can see, we have a special guest. And for one last time, we're going to hit y'all with a quote. We ain't going to do quotes for a little minute. But so my client was in conversation with me about grief. And he said that he had the urge to text me, but instead he texted his friend. And his friend told him a quote that they saw from Tumblr that said, "You should not let yourself borrow your future grief." And I thought that was the deepest shit ever. Do you know how to write that down? I was like, say that slow and let me write that down.
I know. It's when I'm still like, okay, hold on.
Yes.
Let's bring it back. So what did he say?
You should not let yourself borrow your future grief. Because oftentimes when we think about anxiety, it's oftentimes tied to the future and all the like what ifs. Mm-hmm. So you're literally borrowing grief from your future self. And I was like, damn, I want to focus on the grief of my present self.
I love it. That's powerful.
Yeah. So what you think about that?
Man, I think a lot of the times, the only times I'm ever unhappy is when I'm thinking about the future or the past. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's pretty cliche, but what they say is true. When you're in the moment, like, you're happy, you're in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that present moment piece is huge. It's hard, though, you know, and I think that those reminders, especially from, like, our friends and people around us, when we have that, is nice. So, yeah, shout out to your client's friend.
Yeah.
It hit for you. You wrote that
It
down.
did, because I feel like I've been getting pulled into so many spaces to talk about grief. Like, I got asked to be on a panel to talk about grief. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have been using Senses of Self, my journal, to talk about grief. Yeah. And so I'm like, what is happening here? And so it's been pushing me to think about what are the different ways in which we grieve outside of death. And then also, how do we push ourselves to grieve, right? Because sometimes I feel like we pull grief in when we don't really have to.
Oh, absolutely. Like, as soon as something happens, everyone's always like, okay, you're going to go through the grief process or the grieving process. But sometimes you don't go through it, or at least the way that people think you're supposed to, you know? Right. And sometimes we do push that on people. So I agree.
Yeah, there have definitely been situations where, like, people are like, oh, you're grieving. And I'm like, I'm good. Like, I personally, like, dealt with it a while ago, but I'm left feeling guilty because I feel like maybe should I have grieved a bit more? Like, did I get over it too soon? So I definitely resonate with that. Yeah.
It just looks different. And I think that's why the present moment, like you said, you're happier when you're just, like, in the present moment because you're not forcing anything. Yeah. And, like, if you do have other feelings, it happens and it comes as it's supposed to, you know? Yeah, it's I think too, grief, as you're talking about it, a lot of times we talk about death, but how you're talking about it, and I get it, it's not just death. It's like any transitions, any loss, anything. It's like
you could grieve yesterday. Like, I had fun at the club last night, and I can say I am grieving the fact that I don't know if I'm going to experience that again. I don't know if I'm going to have that much fun again with those people, right? Like, that is also grief. But again, I feel like sometimes we call in grief when we don't need to. Because I don't have to grieve that. Instead, it can be like, dang, I had so much fun. I'm glad I took pictures. Because like you, I take pictures, not to post, but sometimes I like to print them out and, you know, scrapbook them. Or I'm a keychain person. I like to, you know, print the stuff out, whatever. But, yeah.
It's the memory.
Love that.
You was there. You did that. And now you're here.
And I'm sore. So anyway, let's jump into the episode. Who do we have, Danica?
Okay, so as you all can see, we have a beautiful special guest, which I know me and Myra were super excited about. But so this is Toni Mundo. I don't know if we asked your pronouns. She, her, hers?
She, her, hers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toni Mundo is the bilingual rapper, the byproduct of a Black and Mexican upbringing. She is a natural poet and storyteller since birth. Mundo writes rhymes that speak to her trials, tribulations, and triumphs. When she's not in the studio, she's out in the South Central community, dedicating her time and passions to Black and brown youth.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of this.
Me too. Me too.
This is beautiful. And so, I mean, we have a lot of questions, so we're gonna get straight into it. So tell us about your journey in becoming an artist.
Oh man, so I think I came out the womb a poet. Like I was bullied since a young age, and I was always feeling different. So I would always I also spent a lot of time by myself, like isolated. And it had its downfalls, but I think the greatest thing that came out of it was it empowered me. Like I used to have these little like mini talent shows of one where I would be like, I was like 5 years old, and I was like, yeah. I've always been a writer. I've always been a poet. I think my journey into like rap artistry only came about a year and a half ago. I never considered myself a rapper. I didn't understand until a good friend of mine told me like 2 years ago, like, yo, you're high-key a rapper. You just got to find your cadence and get in the booth. So about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, I was just in think of like the worst time in your life when you're like really going through it. I was in a homeless shelter. I was pregnant. I was going through a lot, and I just was so angry and frustrated and grieving. And so I decided to write on my bed. And one weekend when I got a free weekend to go away, one of my homies was in the studio, and he was like, hop on. And I was like, nah, I'm not a singer, rapper. I tried to sing. That didn't work. Like the notes were just not hitting. So he was like, maybe you could like rap it a little bit. So it started as like a spoken word type thing, but then he put a beat to it, and I was like feeling it. And then like I just started crying, and like the emotions just started pouring out. And I didn't have anything to read or on me, so I was reading the poems that I wrote in the homeless shelter, and that actually became my first music project called Real Thug Show Love. So that was I think it's coming on a year from the listening party. So that was the first music project, and that was like completely coincidental. I never had the intention of like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper, which a lot of people do. So I think it was just like a beautiful, slow, purposeful journey. Yeah. And for me, rap is just, it's therapeutic. Being in the booth is therapeutic. I don't always have a lot of pressure on myself when I hit the booth. Like, oh, I got to come out with a single. Sometimes it's just to vent, like whatever emotion that I'm feeling. And fun fact, I can't write just about random stuff. Like I have to be moved by an emotion, and then I go on from there.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So tell us, what has the journey been like as far as your support, family and friends? How have they played a role in how they support you and show up?
I love that question. The journey so far in terms of support from family and friends has been amazing. I mean, just like with anything else in life, with any passion you have, if you have good people around you, they're going to support you. Yep. It helps that my music is like pretty good. You know, I think one of the reasons why I have such a strong support base is because I'm bringing in the bilingual rap. I think it's nothing that's new to the rap game, but it is. There aren't many people out there that do it in the way that I do. I'm rapping about real. Can I curse on here?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. I'm rapping about real shit that's relatable to two groups of people. In Spanish, we call it la belleza de dos culturas, the beauty of two cultures. Like I grew up in a really beautiful, diverse, like very beautiful, sometimes really treacherous and isolating environment, and I think that my music speaks to that. So I've had nothing but love. Even people who don't understand Spanish can like feel the emotion, and I think I start off as Spanish only, and I'm slowly going into like dipping in and out of English and Spanish with my songs, just so that people get the full scope of like what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So you started to scratch the surface. Can you dive a little bit more into how it's been helpful for your mental health?
Music and rap has been everything for my mental health. Even before I considered myself a rap artist and got into the booth, when I was young, my dad was a single father. Lost contact with my mom very, very young at like 4 or 5 years old. So we had a lot of struggles together. And, you know, my dad was always a very positive guy. I think that's where I get my energy from. Whenever we were going through it, maybe, you know, I'm young. You know, when you're young, especially like in the 90s, parents are stressed and you're overhearing, oh, we might not be able to make this bill or that bill, or, you know, dad's stressing about this and that. Those were just things I overheard. And so when we would hop in the car, he would just turn on Tupac. You know, he would turn on Tupac. He would turn on, like, the Dog Pound.
Do any song stand out for you? Like, when you
Oh,
said Tupac,
man.
like, what song comes to
Dear
mind?
Mama, he used to blast
yeah.
that shit, like, so loud. And he would play it over and over again. Fat Joe, like, just so many. I could go on and on. Outkast, like, you know, those... Man, it seems like I'm gonna feel old, like back in the day, you know, and they had the CD, like the CD holders, and they were just like busting open, like you couldn't even close that, John. He had like so many of those in his car. Like I remember one that was this thick, and he would just, it was just such a great time. Like we were struggling, but to know that on the weekend or the end of the day, he would let me flip through like all those R&B, hip hop, rap covers. That was just everything to me. So. Yeah, rap has always played a really integral part of my mental health.
Is there an artist that kind of comes to mind that you listen to now where you're like, when I'm having a day, I'm blasting this shit. Like, I have to listen to this to vibe out to?
Oh man, that's really hard. I think people wouldn't expect it because I listen to a lot. I listen to a lot of trap music. I also speak a little bit of French, a little bit of Japanese, and so I try to gain inspiration from like French rap and Japanese rap, Vietnamese rap, like Creole rap. Listen to a little bit of everything, but I think at the end of the day, I'm a true 90s baby because I think 90s, early 2000s, it'll always have like Who Can I Run To? SWV. That's one of those, like, when I'm really going through it, I'll put it on repeat. Who can I run to? And I just, you know, so that's one. Or anything Aaliyah, At Your Best, You Are Loved to Remember. Yeah, so many I can think of. Like, music is everything. Music is mantras. I always tell my students this, like, be careful what you listen to because that's the life you're going to lead.
Yeah, I was just over here thinking, and I know this is not even one of our questions, but like, so when it comes to these cultures, like you talk about, you talk about listening to all these different artists who are rapping in different languages. When you think about the things that they're rapping about, have you noticed any differences, like in regards to what maybe Black folks or even like Latino folks rap about, right? Like, have you noticed any differences in themes?
I mean, of course, I dip in and out of, like, several subgenres. I think that, you know, there's so many. I mean, and it's, like, debatable. I was even, I work for the Compton Museum part-time, and we just had this 50 Years of Hip-Hop exhibition, and we had, like, 100K Day, Mike Miller, and I was asking this question. Your question is reminding me of the question that I asked him, which was like, is trap considered like rap, hip hop, and so on and so forth? And his answer really surprised me. He said at the end of the day, like, the root of rap, like rap, along with, you know, various other genres, stems from coping as a coping mechanism to deal with the struggles that we face every day. And I think a lot of the rap music and just music in general that I listen to or tend to be led towards is people just talking about real shit. I mean, it doesn't have to be a struggle all the time. That's not all that rap and hip hop and R&B is. But just people talking about real shit that they're going through. I think I tend to listen to a lot of music. Like, female rap is really important to me because I tell my youth this all the time. I worked with so much youth from all over, and a lot of them are, like, gang impacted, like, and I always tell them, like, thugs and stealers and deceivers are not the real thugs, mothers are. And so I think that plays a part in the fact that I listen to so much female hip-hop. There's so much, like, power in female and femininity. There's so much power in, like, turning something like such a terrible, heartbreaking experience and repetitive experiences into positive experiences. So I think that's, like, generally what sticks out to me. I like the triumph, like through the tribulations.
I love
it's
hearing you say
inspiring.
mothers are the real thugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Facts. Like come on now. I mean, anybody can like do this and hold a gun, right? But like to push a child, like, and to have that long life responsibility, that's two very different things.
Yeah, I know it's deep. I guess I'm thinking about when it comes to music. I forget what this when it happened with me, but basically I listen to a lot of Afro beats, and in Afro beats, like the music, people are like, what are they even talking about? How do you know what they're talking about? A lot of times they just talking about like living life and just like having fun. Like a lot of their music is just repeats really the same thing, dancing, just drinking, celebrating, right? But I feel like when it comes to more like this Black American culture, our music is very different. Yeah, we talk about fun stuff, but a lot of it is more of like these art experiences, you know? And so I guess that's what made me like kind of think about like, what do you think about like these different folks rapping in different languages? Are they rapping about food? Are they rapping about clothing? Or like, you know, like what is it, if there's any differences?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and as we know, that's just a result of like being brought here and not having a choice. Like we couldn't even speak.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
A lot of the times, I mean, the first Black poet was like 13. I forget her name, but she would have she would have, we already know what would have happened. So that didn't get published until like hundreds of years later. So I just think about that definitely played a role. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I watched this interview with Vince Staples. It was like a little clip, and Vince Staples is hilarious, right? But basically Vince Staples, he kept getting the question, when did you fall in love with rap, right? And he said, what do you mean? Like, that's like asking someone, like, when did they first have their first bite of food? Because technically it's embedded in us as Black people. Like you're talking about, like, listening to all the music that your father was listening to, or just around you growing up. Like, we literally we're born, I mean, being parents, like you listen to music, like we're born into it. Right. I guess I'm thinking though, what is the difference? Because I guess rap is embedded in all of us, but some people become rappers. Right?
Yeah, I think that we could even broaden it up. I think that creativity, period, is embedded in everybody, and I think that it just shows in different ways. Yes. A lot of what I see with the youth that I work with is like, they start off young, and then we start to course correct them when we start to micromanage their art and their creativity, and then I mean you get what you get. But if you have a parent who like really nourishes and lets them explore, then they'll find their way. So I think creativity across the board is innate in us, and some people are just find a way towards music, more musically inclined.
Yeah, for sure. AKA you.
yeah, I guess so.
AKA you, yeah. You kind of spoke about this a little bit with the children you work with. Also, are you all listening to her? She does so much.
Yeah, I got a lot going on.
She's like music with the kids, which is so beautiful, but like, I mean, whew. But so in thinking of that, how do you not let people box you in, right? Because I mean, as artists, you hear it all the time, especially with like these different genres and all that. Like, people probably want to, or what category do people want to put you in? And like, how do you, this is a loaded question, but how do you not be boxed in?
Oh man, I love that question, because when I first entered the rap game, so many people they felt uncomfortable that I was in rap, especially because I don't have like a very hard sound. It's very sultry in me, because I always want to be like true to myself. I'm not trying to, and no shade, like if you have an alter ego, that's amazing. That's just not for me. But when I first started off, so many people were like, man, you should really go to R&B. Like you just have that look. People always love to say that. You look like you would thrive as an R&B artist. And I think the way I combat that is I don't even think about other people. And I know that's really hard to do in the society where, we care so much about like Instagram, like who's on social media, do they like me? Oh no, like we're so hyper vigilant. Like we go into a room, especially in LA, to a social setting. Oh, somebody gave me a dirty look, or this person didn't say hi. Like I just don't care. I think I just stopped caring, because at the end of the day, first of all, people can't box you in. That's like such a myth. and like a fear mindset. The only person who could you can only box yourself in.
Right.
And second of all, people are always going to judge you no matter what. Even if they gave you this script of like, I want you to be A, B, and C and present as D, E, and F. I'm like, come on now. My youth are going to be like, oh no, miss. Even if they gave you this whole elaborate script and you followed to a T, they're still not going to be happy. Right. So I think I just do whatever I feel like makes me happy or like God calls me to. People are often confused, like, are you a rapper or do you work with, are you an educator? I'm both. And don't we educate through rap? Yep. So, I don't know. It's like a human condition. It makes us feel more comfortable when we can just like put someone in a box or like categorize them a certain way. And hopefully we can sit down over a longer lunch and talk about it. But I'm so multifaceted, so I'll never conform to one thing.
But then my question is, how do you even get to a space of comfortability in that? Because the things that I'm hearing you say, I feel like it even is a journey to get there for a lot of people.
Oh, and it's still a journey now. It's always a journey. I'm not comfortable. I never said I was comfortable.
Excuse me?
A lot of people think too, and I'm happy you asked that so I can clarify. I'm like, after all these 27 years, I consider myself a professional disruptor. But being a disruptor of like environments and it means that you're going to, it's literally it comes with the weight of being uncomfortable. But without disrupting, we can't make change. We can't stand up for what's right. So I'm often uncomfortable. Like, I got mad anxiety, yo. Like, sometimes when I walk into a room and I'm the only one who feels a certain way or has a certain thought, like, I got like sweaty armpits. And you can't see because I got a black shirt. So it looks like I'm confident, but I'm not. But at the end of the day, it just depends on what your priority is. And my priority isn't being liked. It's being able to sleep at night, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, like authenticity is uncomfortable, or it can be. Yeah. And a lot of times we don't talk about that. People always are like, oh, yeah, if you're your true self, everything's going to feel good. But it's not true. You're literally fighting against the grain every day.
Yeah, especially with like authenticity, and also like vulnerability is a huge one, because if you follow my Instagram page, like, I'm such an open book in person, on social media. Like, I don't care. I'll tell you what you want to know. I'm gonna tell you about all my mistakes that I made, how I've grown from them, what I'm still working on right now. And a lot of people are uncomfortable by that because they're not comfortable themselves. So me sharing openly makes them uncomfortable. Like, I've literally had friends that I've had to slowly phase away from because they're like, oh, you posted this on your Instagram. Like, that's weird. Like, don't you feel weird? No, girl, that's just you. You definitely projecting right now because I'm good, or else I wouldn't have put it on the internet for the whole world to see. Yeah. So I'm good.
Yes, I love that. I love that you are standing in the truth, no matter how hard it is, no matter if you're having to distance yourself from people who don't belong there.
Right.
Yeah, like, I think as you were talking about, like, the piece of people, you can only box yourself in. No one else can. It made me think about how a lot of times we don't understand things, and they're not meant to be understood all the time.
Right.
Like, we're trying to, like you just say, people are like, are you an educator? Are you a rapper? Like, it's because people want to box you in so they can understand you better, but everything is not supposed to be understood. Right.
And then on the flip side, too, it's like sometimes we have such anxiety around wanting people to understand us, and we'll chase and chase and chase. So, and it's like, it's okay. They don't have to understand. We don't have to understand, and they don't have to understand. The people that see it, they'll just gravitate towards you.
Yep.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, I feel like we've talked about a lot of different things, and we can talk all day. Definitely. What would you say are some takeaways that you would have for our audience? It could be anything that you feel that you want to say right now.
As you've learned, authenticity is a huge one. Vulnerability. I would say that life is too short to do what you want to do, to follow your passions, and to actively practice not caring about what other people say. Because if you spend 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years worrying about what other people say, you're going to be on your deathbed and be thinking like, dang, I wish I had followed my dreams. Instead, what do I have? Those people probably don't even think about you anymore or really even care. Right. So I would just say find your passion and stick to it.
Yes, I love that. And so we want to thank you for coming and joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, and that is it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast.